Hello, it's Abby Amen from the iFace Center. Welcome to our 15th episode on Kids and Technology Parents Guide. So this is a live broadcast that we do bring you every Saturday here on Facebook. The purpose for this particular presentation being live is that we are expecting that parents will come on and ask questions regarding their kids' use of technology. It's a passion at the iFace Center to be able to bring you information that will keep your children secured when they go online, when they play games, when they do their online searches, or even when they do their schoolwork online. This is a weekly presentation that we do bring you tag Kids and Technology Parents Guide. And today we're going to be talking about teens porn addiction, about teens internet porn addiction. This is a very sensitive topic, and no parents want to think or even know that their children can be addicted to pornography online. But that's the reality that we see these days. Experts are actually saying that child pornography or child porn viewing has become an epidemic. It has become a serious problem. It has become so common to the point whereby it's an epidemic. So this is a very important topic. So we're going to be talking about that today. Why I'm kind of taking some time here doing some housekeeping is to give some people the chance to join us online and be able to ask their questions. And I did introduce myself already. My name is Abby Amen. I'm a registered nurse by profession, and I'm also an internet safety educator. I'm a mother of 3 children who love technology. When I say they love technology, I know what I'm talking about. My youngest, who is 4, loves the phone. And I have a teenage boy who is 14, almost 15, and my middle child is 12. My middle child is not so much into technology, but when she's given a chance, she could spend some good time online as well. And I see Jenny is with me today. Thank you, good friend, for coming on. I do appreciate you. So when you do come in, please say hello so I am assured that you can hear me on the other end. So today we are going to be talking about what I have called teens internet porn addiction. That's what we're going to be talking about. And so I am one of the founders of the iFace Center. The iFace Center is a nonprofit organization that was established in Edmonton in the year 2017 with the primary purpose to bring parents the information and to create the awareness of child internet safety. Our passion and our goal at the center is to ensure that every child globally accesses the internet safely. Because we do believe that when we have strong children, when we have disciplined children, when we have good children, good digital citizens, children, we are creating a stronger future. Therefore, our motto is protecting the children and securing our future. We know that our children are the leaders of tomorrow. So I'm going to be going straight into the topic, but before I go into it, I like us to understand the reason why this particular topic is important. So I'm going to bring out some statistics on this particular topic today, which is teen internet porn addiction. For those that are just joining us, that's the topic of today. So according to statistics, 1 in 3 internet users are children. 30% of all websites are pornographic in its creation, in its content. The average age of owning a cell phone in Canada is at the age of 10. And the average age for which a child first comes across porn online is 10. Are we seeing the synchrony there? Therefore, does that mean that the phone is a quick way to access internet porn? And does that mean that on the average, that children who are being given phone at the age of 10 are actually coming across porn within the same age that they are being given the phone? That's something for us parents to think about when we do hand our children this gadget, when we hand our children this phone to use as their means of communication. You know, whatever our purpose is experience for which we give our children phone, we mean well. But at the same time, we do have to also be, aware that there are dangers associated to this. So here at the IFACE Center, we are not here to demonize technology at all, but we're here to bring you the information that will help you to tread safely, that will help you to help your children to use the internet safely. Stopping the internet access for children is definitely not the answer to this problem, but teaching them the right way to use these tools is the answer. Frequent, regular discussion on how to use these tools is the primary answer to this problem of, safety and internet safety and children. So I'm going to read out a research here by the Witherspoon Institute. So according to this institute, it says that the new narcotic neurological research has revealed that the effect of internet pornography on the human brain is just as potent, if not more so, than addictive chemical substance such as cocaine or heroin. So, internet addiction is just as potent as the addiction to cocaine or heroin. So according to psychiatrist Dr. Jeffrey Santinova, it says that the delivery system of these addictive stimulus, in bracket, internet pornography, has become nearly resistant-free. It is as though we have devised a form of heroin 100 times more powerful than before, usable in the privacy of one's own room and injected directly to the brain through the eyes. It is now available in unlimited supply via a self-replicating distribution network, glorified as art and protected by the Constitution. So that's what dear Dr. Jeffrey Santinova had said. That is what he compares internet addiction, pornographic addiction via the internet. He compares it to heroin. And it's such a free access. It's so easy to access. With 30% of internet being pornographic in nature, I tell you the children are not looking for it. It's right there. Okay, so for those that are just coming in, this is a live broadcast on kids and technology and how parents can protect their children when they go on the internet. So if you're just coming in, you can say hello. And if you do have questions as we go, please ask. Our goal is to be able to, help you as a parent to, tackle the problem of internet and gadget access by your children. Do you have any questions around how your children use internet or use a gadget or how they play their games? We're here to answer your questions. And we'll bet you if we don't have the answer to your question, we will definitely get back to you on the right answer. Okay? Thank you very much. Yes, hello. Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Alex. And Solex, thank you for coming on. Okay, so now, why are we particular about, teen being addicted to online pornography? Why isn't the other group of people that we are worried about? We are particularly worried about the teens in this particular, when it comes to online porn addiction, because the stage in which their brain is developing at a time. So when a teen is developing, basically 3 basic things happens in that teenage age, between that age of 13. They actually say in the adolescence age, which can start between 10, 11 to the age of 21, but we're really focusing now on teens. 3 things would happen. The slow development over time, over a long period of time, of the part of the brain that is involved in controlling attention, that is involved in controlling resistance to distraction. There's also slow development in impulse, in how to control impulse, as well as decision making. However, there's faster development and increased functional activities in the area of the brain that are involved in emotions, appetite, mood, and your gut's reaction. Now, doesn't that explain why a teenager can be impulsive? Why they will speak faster than they would think? Why a teen would rather eat all day than play? Now, it is the brain formation that makes them to act that way. Thirdly, so the connection between this part of the brain becomes increasingly efficient. So as they grow, the connection becomes more efficient. But while they are in that process, there is definitely slow development in the area of resisting distraction, in the area of impulses, in the area of decision making, and in the area of attention. Doesn't that explain why maybe you send your teenager on an errand from the kitchen to, say, your bedroom, and then they forget what you have asked them to do because of there's short attention issues when at that particular point in time. Doesn't that also explain why sometimes your teenager can be moody? Why your teenager can be moody? They can swing when it comes to their mood. One time they are happy and the other time they are down. It's a part of their brain development. Now, when it comes to impulse in particular, from the way the brain would function when it comes to not being able to control impulse, that would explain why they could stumble across porn online instead of them to keep going or to shut off that computer. Impulsively they want to see, and out of curiosity they also want to see. They're not able to control their emotions. They are not able to control their decision. The executive function part of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, is not fully developed. Doesn't actually become fully developed until like mid-20s. So teenagers, if they are exposed to porn, they have a risk of continuing to view it without parents knowing. So it's not just that they want to do it, it's not just that they want to do it, but it's a matter of a brain function. So then what do we do? How do we help our children? And we do also know that during the teenage years, they do come across a lot of challenges. They have issues with their social life. They're social beings. They want to connect, but at the same time, they are not really sure how safely to connect. And we do know that they do have a lot of challenges. Even when we were teenagers, we had issues with answering that question: who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Right? We know that they have all of these questions. They have all of these curious questions, but they are not wired to be able to answer these questions. That is why as parents, we are there to be able to help guide them through this process. And that is why it's important as parents that we get the knowledge that we need to be able to help our children through this process. Okay, so I want you to understand that when a teen is accustomed to viewing pornography, there is a nagging shame. There's a nagging shame that sets in because of the perversiveness and for the fact that they are not able to talk about it. There's a shame accompanying with being addicted to pornography, which a teen is not easily able to talk about. And as parents, we should be able to understand that these are possible things that could happen. And we have to be there as the safe people to guide our children through all of this process. And if you do have any questions, please ask. Today we are talking about teen online addiction. Welcome, Mama. Thank you for coming on, dear Pastor Elizabeth. We're talking about teen online addiction, online porn addiction. teen internet porn addiction, where teenagers can become addicted to viewing pornography online. This is a common thing that is happening these days. Actually, the statistics is underrated because children who are actually into the situation, they are not speaking about it, and parents who are maybe aware are not seeking the right advice. Therefore, the statistics is definitely underrated, but it is out there. So today we are here to deal with these issues as to how we can help children if we do realize that any of ours is into such addiction. That is why we are here today to talk about this. Okay, so another reason why a teen can easily be addicted to online pornography is also because of the feel-good hormones, which is the dopamine hormone. Now, when a pornography is being viewed, the brain releases a huge amount, which they almost describe it as a volcanic rush of dopamine hormones that is being released when porn is being viewed. More so for teenagers who are at that stage of brain development where they have a high level of the dopamine hormones. Therefore, when they're watching porn, there is a feel-good hormones that is released in their body that makes them feel good about what they're watching. But yes, at the end of it, it could be shameful for them. But while they are watching it, the dopamine hormone keeps them situated, keeps them connected to the screen, and they continue to watch it, and they continue to watch it to a point where it becomes uncontrollable. And of course, when it becomes uncontrolled, that is where the addiction does set in. So now here are the warning signs that a child may be addicted to pornography. Here are the warning signs. Now I will say to approach this with caution, and I will say, in fact, to assume that your child is not viewing pornography until you can prove that your child is actually viewing pornography. I said this before, this is a very sensitive issue, and I like to approach it with as much caution as I can possibly. So, to say that your child is addicted to pornography, now that is not what I'm claiming. What I'm saying is that there is a chance, there is a high risk that a lot of teenagers can be viewing pornography, and therefore, because they're viewing it continuously, it can lead to addiction. It is not for any parents to assume that, oh, because the chances of viewing it is very high, therefore you suspect. You have to be sure. You have to be sure of your fact. Now, how do you know that your child is, there are warning signs, there are markers. The only way you know for sure is if you see them, if you go through their history searches and you see a link to porn, or if you catch them right on that they are watching it. Now, if a sibling, if one of your other children reports to you that, oh, they see so-and-so person, they see one of your child viewing porn, yes, that could be a proof, but however, you have to be sure that what your other child is reporting is actually true. Then you have to find out for yourself. That is why I said to approach this with caution. And I would also say for parents who have put safety gadgets, who have put like application to streamline the information that their children get over the internet. Now, the purpose for which you have put those safety gadgets is so that you can rest easy. Is so that when your child is on the internet, you relax and believe that they are doing all the right things. But I can say to you that the filters are as good as when it was made. While the filters are made to filter such information, explicit information and perversive information from your child's consumption, also when it comes to porn, the companies are also refining the way in which they dish out their information such that it is able to escape through some filters. Now, the target audience of porn organizations are children. And I repeat that. The target audience for porn companies are children. They are targeting children to be their customers. Therefore, we have to be aware of this. Yes, even though we put a safety gadget, yes, we do still need to discuss these values with our children. We do still need to check the history and make sure that they're saying what they should be saying, or make sure that they're consuming the information that they should be consuming. Okay, so kind of going back now to the warning signs on how to actually know for sure if your child is being addicted to porn, or if your child is viewing pornography online. Now, we have to know that there are two main reasons why a child would view pornography. Curiosity. You know, they have a question about sexuality. They have because at a teenage age, you know, they're a burst of hormones, right? They have questions. They're curious about issues. So, out of curiosity, they can do some searches and they come across, say, porn. And because of the way in which their brain function, they are not able to delay gratification. That executive function to delay things is not quite there. Then they search and they find that information. And because of the high level of dopamine that is being released in the brain when a child comes across porn for the first time, there's a chance that they continue to search. Unless, of course, we have equipped that. And unless, of course, we have already put on that safety discussions within them, which is very loud in their head, or we should be very loud in their head, then they could come to you as a safe parent and say, I came across so-and-so and I don't understand it. Help me to understand it. But for a child who sees it and who becomes interested in it, there's a high chance that they're going back to viewing it. And I said the other reason is, again, is the dopamine hormone level. So it is important that we start to monitor for signs. And of course, I talked about regular discussion. So now, what are those warning signs that we could watch for? Depression is one. So when a child is viewing pornography, why they are having that feel-good hormone in the moment while they are viewing it, when they are off the screen, when they are not viewing it, then shame sets in because of the perversive nature of it. They become... sorry about that break. And a child who is ashamed is depressed. It can lead to depression. And we do also understand that when the person is depressed, they would not naturally enjoy the things that usually would bring them joy in life, right? Therefore, we do need to watch for certain depression in our children. So if you notice that your child who is usually boisterous and happy all the time suddenly is showing signs of depression, then we do need to, probe into it, ask and find out why they are depressed. Okay, just give me a second. I feel like my husband is trying to reach me at this point. Just hold on one moment. Okay, thank you for your patience there. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so the second warning sign that you should also be watching for is lying, stealing, and secret. So there will be increased number of lies and secret that they hide. While this may also be a natural behavior of growing up as a teenager, it is worth noting. Now, if there is a sudden password change, an email password change, for which you have not authorized, then you should also be probing into that as to why. We talked about shame being a reaction to porn addiction, and with that comes lying, and with that also comes secret, like we have talked about. And if you notice this, do not expect an easy confession. Do not expect your child to easily confess this behavior. And you should not also press hard for the truth. Okay, now the fact that your child suddenly shows a behavior that is off, right? and you go to ask and say, what's happening? Why did you change your email password? Why am I not aware of this? Why are you keeping such secret? Whatever reason they give you, yes, it may not make sense, but do not press too hard, because the more you press, the farther you drive them into that secret. The farther you drive them into that secrecy. So just say to them, I believe you, and you know that you can always come to me as your mom to seek advice or to seek my opinion in things. You know, always open up to your child to make them understand that no matter the situation, you are the safe person that they can come to. Also, if your teen is keeping unexplained late nights, that is also a warning sign, because for a lot of stories that I've read about teen addiction, it seems like a lot of these activities go on at night when parents are sleeping. So when parents are sleeping is when the child would access the internet and access porn. Therefore, if you're noticing that too, that could also be an alarm. Seeking immediate gratification. If your teen cannot delay gratification for important activities such as school and relationship, chores, sleep, or sports, or this could also mean, this could be a sign of lack of self-control. And we know that self-control is important to be able to control activities that stimulate dopamine levels. So if your child cannot delay gratification, say instead of doing schoolwork, he wants to be playing game, or instead of doing sports, he wants to be on his phone, right? And we do know that it takes a lot of self-control to be able to, for a child to be able to see porn and not view it. Therefore, we also have to be able to help our children through this process. You know, that's at that point whereby you probe into, you can throw questions such as, say you were searching on the internet and you found something explicit. What would you do? What are the expectations? And if your child is not sure what to do, and that is the point whereby you start to talk about your family values around technology, what you expect them to do. So as we continue on, please ask your questions. If you have any questions around this topic, you can ask, or around how your children use technology, or if you have any questions at all concerning children and the use of internet and their gadget, we are definitely open to answer your question. Thank you so much as you continue to stay tuned to us. So the fifth sign that you do also need to watch for is tech obsession. So your teen who cannot be separated from their gadget, especially children who do not have filters on their gadget, this group are at a greater risk. So when your teen rather be on the internet than anything else, that should also be alarming. If your child is constantly, say, maybe changing their password, or you do not even have the access to your child's phone, if you don't know the password to your child's phone, or suddenly there is a change of password for which you are no longer aware, now that could also be an alarm. So we do need to, watch out for signs that could be pointing to those areas. Now, these are alarms, these are triggers. That does not necessarily mean that when you find out that your child has sudden depression, or is keeping a lot of secrets, or has unexplained late nights, such as when you get up to use the bathroom, you notice that your child is on the gadget. Or if your child does not have self-control or is obsessed with your technology. Yes, why these are warning signs, these are not confirmed signs that your child is addicted to internet pornography. But for sure, do not neglect your gut feeling. You do need to be able to find out if really that is the case. So now, how do you approach a teen? How do you approach a teen when it comes to this particular situation? So now, once you have your evidence, I mean clear evidence, making sure that you are well aware that your child is viewing online porn. Now, at this point is where you approach your child directly. Do you approach your child? Find out the best time to approach your child. Find out the best moment, the most receptive moment you think your child will be able to answer your question. You know your child better. You know your family. You know your home. You know where and when and around what time or area that you can best approach your child to be able to get any, good information out of them. So now let your approach not be judgmental. Do not pass a verdict before you get a chance to speak with your child. You need to be the safe place for your child to move towards rather than to shrivel away from. In order for you to do this, you need to watch your emotions. This is not time to cry. And I know as mothers, we can become emotional. This is not time to scream. This is not time to blame or to lay out consequences. Tell them what you have noticed, observe and seen, and wait for their response. Now, this may take a while for them to reply you. I can almost guarantee you that there will be silence. Your child will be silent, especially if you know and you have confirmed that this is true. Your child will be silent. And no matter how long that silence is, I'll say you be quiet, be calm, and listen. Listen to understand what they have to say. Now, from this point, it can either go two paths. It can either be positive to the fact that, yes, your child is admitting that he's viewing online pornography, or it can either be negative to, no, nada, I don't know, never seen it, never will. It could be that. Or it could be that your child is at a point whereby he really needs help or she really needs help and she wants to admit to you. Okay, so at this point, what do you do? So if your child's response is positive to viewing online porn, then let your child know the myths around pornography. Let your child know that what they're saying is not true and it's not real. That is not what sex is all about. That is not even what sexuality is about. Let them know that pornography is overrated. It has been made to suck people into viewing and continuing watching. That is not what real sex is all about. Because after all, they've seen what's not sex, what is wrong. So it's important that you help them to understand what is right at this point. Now, at this point, ask your child what they want to do. Now that your child is admitting to watching online pornography or being addicted to porn, so ask them, what can we do to solve this problem? And notice my word is what can we do, not what you can do. Because this is a team effort. This is your child and you need to be able to help your child. So a majority of the time, the child knows what they need to do because they know their accesses, right? So at this point, let your child lead. Let your child tell you what he or she thinks that they need to do. The first thing usually is, I need to stop viewing it. I just need to stop watching it. And as soon as they say that, there is a weight that's coming off their body because eventually they've been able to let themselves say or admit to their shame. And once you admit to your shame, that's a turnaround point. So they're going to say they need to stop watching it. So the question is, how do you stop watching it, right? So your child is going to let you know the different accesses he or she uses to access pornography. And when those accesses are being listed, then you have to find, both of you now have to discuss a way that you can either totally close off those access or make those access supervised access. So that's basically what it is. So once your child tells you the different access, then you have to start discussing ways in which you can close those accesses. And if they've signed up for any email notification, that is at that point whereby you need to subscribe. And if they own an account with a pornographic website, and that is the point where it needs to be closed. but at the same time, letting your child lay out everything. The reason I say let your child lead in this particular situation is, why as parents, we are quick to bring solutions to the problem. We may not even know all of the accesses. And I say to you, there are diversified ways, there are diverse ways, and there are, unimaginable ways in which kids can access porn. There's pornography in 30% of the internet. So if your child is accessing one, they know where they're accessing it, they know when they access it, and then let them lead the way. All you do need to do is to support them. I'm just going to scroll down to see if there be any questions that I may not be catching. No questions so far. That's okay. I do hope that this presentation is clear, and that's why there are no questions. But please, if you do have any questions around this topic or around how children use it, how children use technology, please do ask, and we are very happy to answer your question. So once your child tells you the different accesses, in your head, we're going to block those accesses. And of course, you're going to work with your child step by step to block those accesses. So you want to block all accesses by phones or by computer or email notification or in all forms of their gadgets. You want to block all content that they send to him, say as a reminder, or her as a reminder. And you want to let your child, again, like I said, be the leader in this particular situation. And when your child has given you all of the accesses, you work with him to start to block all of those accesses. In addition to blocking those access, you and your child have to collaborate that there will be no access to internet in private areas, and there will be no access to internet at the time in which they usually access pornography. So if your child said to you, I usually watch it at night when you and your dad are sleeping, then of course you know that your internet router at that point of the time, at that point in time at night, needs to be shut off. You want to block all forms of accesses. You want to empower your child that way. So it's not to say, okay, this is not a slow withdrawal process in this particular situation. This should be, a sudden change, because we're talking about hormone response. We're talking about dopamine hormone response. So your child cannot continue to watch little bits. It needs to be blocked completely. So working with your child to block all of those accesses and empowering your child as to what they need to do next time. So once you block all of those accesses, and your child, of course, is on board with you, so then what do you do? What does your child do if when they go to their friend's house and those accesses are not blocked and their internet are not secured? What are they to do? Now, this is at the point whereby you need to have that discussion with your child, what they need to do when they do come across porn outside the home. What they need to do, again, is to flee away from it, run away from it. Never put themselves in a situation whereby they can view it safely and nobody is aware. They don't put themselves in a secret situation whereby they can be tempted to log on to some perversive website. So we do need to have this discussion with our children. And from then on, it should be on a regular basis. Also empowering your child and letting your child know. I talked about not blaming your child. Not blaming your child because there is a high access of porn online. Even though your child is not looking for it, it's right there. Therefore, don't blame your child. Make your child understand that pornography is targeted towards children, and it is not targeted to the benefit of children, but rather to destroy children. And you say to your child, I'm proud of you for owning up, and I'm proud of you for letting me know. Because now that I know, you are on your way to recovery. You are on your way to coming out of this shame and out of this secrecy. So you do need to empower your child that way. Okay, so now the second option, second pathway would be, yes, even though you have your evidence, you know that your child is viewing pornography, and your child says no, they're not. It is possible that a child will deny. A child will deny primarily for one reason. because they're afraid of your consequences. They're not denying because they're happy or proud of what they're doing. They're denying because they're afraid of consequence. If your child does deny, yes, even why that is painful, because you have your evidence. I'll say at this point, don't press too hard for the truth. But say to your child, I'm not asking you because I want to give you consequence. I'm not asking you because I think it's your fault or that I'm blaming you. I'm asking you because there's a high chance that when you are on the internet for so long, or that when you are on the internet at all, because 30% of internet content is pornographic in nature, you have 3 in 10 chances of coming across porn. So I want you to know, my child, I want you to know, my son, my daughter, that if you do come across pornography online, you can have that discussion with me and we can work together for you to be able to overcome that. Okay, so reassuring your child, because you want to open up to your child as a safe person for them to come to, rather than presenting yourself as, full of consequences for them. A child who knows that there's going to be consequence to what they're doing, they're going to run away from it. Now, also discussing the myths around pornography is important. But before you are discussing the myths around pornography, you know for sure that your child is watching porn. Therefore, discuss it. Let them know that, one, first of all, pornography is not real. That is not the truth about sex. The pornography is actually created to perverse what sex actually is. You need to let them know that it is created for business. It is created for sale. It is created to have people hooked onto it, so that the viewers can subscribe to it, of course, paying forward. You need to let your children know, especially if you know that your child is viewing it. Otherwise, giving out such information can be premature. Okay. So that's it when it comes to dealing with a child who watches online porn. Any questions? Any questions around this area? Okay. If you do have any questions, please write it out there. We would be happy to take your questions. So I'm just going to give just as a summary of what I've talked about today, which is teen online porn addiction or teen internet porn addiction. So what are tips to overcoming porn addiction for teenagers? And this can also be applicable to adults, because it's not only teenagers that are addicted to pornography. Actually, some adults suffer from this situation as well, whereby they have this addiction and they don't know what to do. So tips here is block the porn site, block the porn website, block every form of it. You can get an internet safety ware that can actually filter out pornographic information and put it on your phone, put it on your computer, put it on all the devices from which you actually access pornography. And you can put it on all the devices in the house for family whose teens are accessing pornography. Remove yourself from a pornographic situation, such as turning off the computer. So letting your child know, let's say they access it outside their home in a friend's house. They at that particular point in time, they are not in charge of the filters in the home, but they can remove themselves from that situation and discuss it with you as a safe parent. And of course, if you're religious, pray about it. If you're a faith person, pray about it. If you're a Christian, of course, the first thing you should do is to pray about the situation and let God help you through this problem. But after you pray, you do have to start working for that solution to come. Isolate yourself from the source completely. Isolate yourself. Take yourself away from the situation. Take yourself away from anything that could present as pornography to you. Only use computers in public places. Use computers in open areas. Don't use your computer in your bedroom. Don't use your computer in the bathroom. Don't use your computer in a secret place where nobody's watching. Don't wake up at night and be using your computer. Those put you in that situation to be tempted to view pornography. Find a trusted person to hold you accountable. finding a trusted person to hold you accountable. This works for teens and adults alike. So you have this problem, and you know that it's a problem for you. Discuss it with a trusted friend and have that friend hold you accountable. Constantly checking on you on how your addiction is going, how you are managing it, and then holding you accountable if there be a relapse. And also, do not, again, I will say again, do not blame or make them feel less than they actually are. For a child who is already suffering from porn addiction, is already blaming themselves, is already ashamed of who they are or who they have become. Therefore, as parents, we cannot blame them more, but rather we can empower them. We can let them know that, you know what? It's not your fault that this has happened, but we can find a way to get out of this safely. So empowering your child that way. So do all you can to help your child, and follow through to make sure that your plans and your interventions are effective. But if you find out that your plans, your interventions are not effective, I will say seek a professional advice. Seek professional counseling from an addictions counselor. And they have tools. That's what they're trained for academically, to be able to help people with addiction. Therefore, if you can't experience, it's okay to seek that help. A lot of parents are already seeking that help. You are not going to be alone if you do seek that help. This is a real problem, and this happens to a lot of families. A lot of families suffer from it. It doesn't matter the race, it doesn't matter the ethnicity, it doesn't even matter, it doesn't matter their profession, doesn't matter their religious practice. A lot of children in homes suffer from internet porn addiction, and as parents, it is our right and it's our responsibility to be able to help our children through this difficult process. So please, if you do have any questions, ask us. Otherwise, we're rounding up here. And I'm just going to scroll down again to see if there be any questions. There are no questions today. I would really be happy if somebody could ask a question regarding this area or any topic at all, so you can bring more light into the situation. Like, this presentation is interactive. It's supposed to be, back and forth. You ask your questions and I will bring you the answers, and like that. And if you have any experience that you want to share with us, for sure, you can put it down on the comments and other parents can learn from it. The good thing about internet safety and us discussing it online is what we are actually doing is that we are creating that herd immunity. Herd immunity meaning that we're not only just protecting our children, we are not only protecting the kids around us, we are also protecting children that are outside our home. So our neighbors' children, our church members, our friends' children, we are protecting them when we share information. So that's why I'm going to encourage you today to share this video. If the information in this particular presentation has been beneficial to you in any way, or that you even think it would be beneficial to teenagers around you or in your life, I want you to share it. Now, while we are focusing on teenagers, we're saying is teen porn addiction. Children as little as 10 years old view pornography, even younger than that. So if you even have children around you that are 10, or you have friends who have children less than teenagers, I strongly encourage you to share this video, because the way we create this community engagement on media is how we share this video and how much views we get. If we're able to have a lot of views on this video, then it's bumped up such that so that more people are able to view it. And our goal is to be able to bring the information to where it's needed, and that is in the homes. Please share this video as much as you can, and we'll be very glad and thankful that you have done that. That way, you are not only protecting your children, you're protecting children globally. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to wait here for a moment while I wait for a few questions, and if they're not, that would be okay. We would have to see you again next week with a different topic. Now, the way our topic runs in this broadcast is we take feedback from parents. If it's a particular topic you want us to talk about when it comes to internet, yeah, children's internet use, or how children access the internet, or what bothers you, anything, any area of the internet that is not very clear to you, that you want us to do a presentation about, you can just suggest it to us, and we'll find a way to bring you that information as a presentation like this, or we can get back to you answering a question if it's posed as a question. Okay, so we do expect feedback and we do expect contribution on this presentation. Thank you very much. And on that note, we would be finishing here shortly. Continue to keep the children safe while you're securing our future. Thank you very much for joining us today, each and everyone that was here. Bola, my good friend, thank you for coming. Nolly, thank you. Bumblebee, thank you. Afosa, thank you. Astra, John Moore, thank you. Evangelist Haley, thank you. My dear mother, Pastor Elizabeth, thank you. Big sister Joycelyn, thank you very much for coming. Mr. Alex Obaragado, my brother, God bless you. Solas, thank you, my beautiful sister-in-law, God bless you. And Jenny, thank you for coming on. Thank you all for coming on. Please share the video, and we'll see you again next week. Please be sure to tune in for another informative episode on Kids and Technology Parents Guide. Thank you and have a blessed week. Bye-bye.